Hello, I'm Jemima, and today I'd like to read you a little section from the Princelings+Pirates, which is the second book in the Princelings of the East series. And this is me trying out my camera for the first time as well. So this is from chapter 4, which is called Shipwrecked, which gives you a good clue. And the subtitle, which I have on all of my books, for each chapter is In Which George Plots His Course and Fred Goes Flying. Fred clung on to the crow's nest for dear life. He had completely changed his view of this activity as a pleasant way to spend one's holiday. Around him the thunder rolled, the lightning crashed, the seas heaved, and his stomach heaved with them. Every few minutes the ship lurched to the top of the wave, where he plucked up the courage to put his nose out of the crow's nest and looked to see if there was any danger, and then there was a momentary feeling of weightlessness before the ship rolled over the crest of the wave and down onto the other side, sometimes with a sickening crash that made Fred wonder whether the timbers could possibly stand the strain. Most of the rest of the journey through the trough in the waves, Fred crouched down, wedging his body in the little wooden basket and hanging on, not daring to trust the strapping Rum had kindly tied around him before leaving him to his shift. He wondered how long this watch would last, as he couldn't see even Rum coming up to relieve him. Surely no one would try shinning up the rigging in these conditions. The storm had come on swiftly after they had left the security of the harbour at first light. Despite grumblings from the more experienced crew, the captain had refused to turn to its shelter, and they had ploughed on, firstly through rough seas and strong winds, and then through huge breakers, wind and rain, and finally through a full tempest with all its accompanying drama. They had hardly had any sail up, just enough to give them a modicum of control, and most of the crew were below decks, feeling horribly sick. The one consolation, thought Fred, in his few moments when he could think of anything other than survival, was that Victor had not yet been made to walk the plank, as no one could keep a plank steady for long enough. Also, the captain had wanted a decent supper before the storm took full hold, so Victor had been let out of the brig to cook it for him. Indeed, the quality of his cooking was such that he might expect an indefinite stay of execution. The storm had been raging now for over 24 hours, and Fred thought Rum's prediction it would be over in 12 had been vastly optimistic. He had no idea where they were, he had no visibility like he had on the journey down, and even when they were at the crest of the wave he could only see the rain and storm clouds and choppy water. He was beginning to think the storm was lessening a bit, though it was getting increasingly towards nightfall, and there was no increase in the light. Yet Fred was convinced the clouds were getting a bit thinner. He poked his nose above the top of his shelter once more, took a look around, trying not to get salt water spray in his eyes, saw nothing, and hunkered down once more in his misery. I hope you like that. There's plenty of ship work in the Princelings+Pirates, as you might imagine. So have a read of the book. It's the second in the series, and I hope you enjoy it.